I have my notes right here, so let's keep going. Hey babes, what's up? It's Lorena. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm Lorena. I make beauty, fashion, and lifestyle videos as often as I can, and for today's video I am super excited to finally be bringing this video to you guys. I know a lot of you guys have DM'd me, asked me about it, and then also I just personally wanted to make one since like June of last year, but I never really just had the time, like life just got in the way, but it's okay. We have some time now, some unexpected time. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So just so you guys know, I am a transfer student, which means that I had already attended a university prior to applying to NYU. However, like my tips still apply to students who are applying for their first year, so that's fine. Like it's only a few minor details that make it a little different. But so New York University's Tisch School of the Arts has some of the best arts programs in the world, specifically in regards to drama. I am a big fan of some of the famous alum from Tisch. Like some of them are Adam Sandler, Camila Mendes, Gina Rodriguez, Molly Shannon, oh, I love Molly Shannon, Alec Baldwin, and like so many more people. Idina Menzel, she also went there. So I actually was surprised when I figured this out. Well, when I looked it up on Google, because I had admired these people for so long when I saw them on TV or in movies, and then just seeing that like they were all connected by the same type of professional training was just like astonishing to me, and that made me want to apply here even more. Tisch was the only art school that I applied to because it was the only one that I really fell in love with the program, specifically because it combines academic learning with conservatory style training. So I just thought that was like a very well-rounded education, and coming from a business background, because I have my associate's degree in business, I wanted to make sure that there was still like very academic learning involved, because that's just like a setting I'm comfortable and used to. But of course I also wanted to make sure I had professional acting training, so it was perfect. So to start off, you have to apply through the Common App if you're a national or international student. It doesn't matter if you're a first year or a transfer, it's all through there. There are a few minor changes depending on, you know, like what year you are or whatever, or if you're a first year. So basically you just have to make sure you put your personal information correctly, because it could affect like so many things. And then you go to the specific university's information, and then you fill in like the department you're applying for, like certain other specific questions. And then the most important thing at the bottom are the prompts, because those are what the people looking at your application are going to be most interested in about, because it's about you and like why they should accept you into their institution. For me, I believe it was only 2 prompts. I tried to go back into my application, but it doesn't like let you view it after a certain time. So but I remember it was 2 prompts, and the first one you have a few different options. The one I chose was basically like, what would you like for us to know that your application doesn't say? And I talked about being like a Latina artist and like the difficulties and obstacles that presents for me. And then for the second one, it's the ever popular, and I think like pretty much the same for every year, like why NYU? I talked about how like being in a different place like New York City was much more culturally open, and I would just be able to learn while being in the city because it's just such a different environment. I also talked about how I loved the program in itself because again of the academic and conservatory style training. My tip really is to make sure that you research as much as you can about what makes Tisch different from any other institution, because if you make it a general answer that could apply to any arts program, they're not going to take you seriously, and they're going to be like, wow, this person really didn't take the time or doesn't even really know if they want to come here, because like there's nothing special or different about us, and you have to show them like why you want to go here. Ooh, okay, one more thing I really included in that like why NYU topic is that I really was interested in branching out into different areas of art, and that's something that Tisch Drama is super focused on. They love the word multi-hyphenate artist, and that means that you're not just like acting, like you would like to branch out into directing, producing, creating your own content, writing, and like so many other things. So make sure that like that's something you're interested in and something that actually sparks the joy for you, because that's like a huge part of the curriculum, being able to branch out and try new things and learn new things. So keep that in mind. After your application is submitted, you'll get an email that allows you to log into an account through NYU to schedule your audition. I actually did mine through Zoom because I was just too worried about getting lost in the city, as well as like just like stressed out about not knowing where I was and not feeling comfortable. And also like it's kind of expensive to book a flight, hotel, meals, all of that for an audition. So I did it through Zoom. And honestly, like I knew this was gonna hurt my chances because applying as a transfer student is already extremely difficult to get in. And then of course doing it through video instead of coming in person is even more difficult. So I knew that my chances were like slim to none from all the research I did. So I took the chance. But again, I'm from Georgia, so it's kind of far away. If you're close by, I highly recommend you go in person, or when they go around like the country to do their stops, see if maybe you can make it to one of those, but definitely check in way ahead of time. For transfer students, our applications were due like in March and our auditions were in April, and then our decisions came out in May, so it's kind of late. But for first years, it's a lot sooner, I think like December and November. So make sure you check on those deadlines because it's extremely important or you won't be able to apply. So when you're preparing for your artistic review, basically your audition, you have to prepare 2 monologues, 1 dramatic, 1 comedic, and they both have to be from contemporary published plays. And make sure you really take the time to look at monologues that really fit you as an actor and something that perhaps you would be cast in, and also something that you're comfortable with, because like a lot of monologues are super overdone. Like sometimes when they hear it, they already zone out because they're so tired of hearing it. So make sure you really take that time. And also make sure that you prepare your acting resume because you're gonna have to submit that ahead of time. They give you a template. It's super easy to follow, so just make sure you do it. I was actually pretty worried because what the instructions said is that you couldn't put anything that was like TV or film related, or anything that you were like paid for. It could only be things that like you had done at your high school or for a church, or just anything unpaid. So I only had like 2 things under theater, which was like I was a fork in my high school's production of Beauty and the Beast, which is like nothing. And the second one was like I did like a monologue piece for the Atlanta History Center, but like that was nothing. Again, the odds were totally against my favor because I had no theater training or background. So if you don't have it either, just give it your best shot, do what you can, and prepare as much as you can. And going back to preparing for your audition, if you're applying for musical theater, you also have to learn 16 or 32 bars of a song and a dance. So that's just in addition to the monologues, but that's only for musical theater. So I was fortunate enough that at a play I was volunteering at to help, I met a professor from a university that actually prepared me for my audition. She was a professor of theater and she helped me rehearse. She gave me notes on how to keep working on it, and she even helped me pick my monologues, so they would be things that weren't super overdone and also things that fit me as a Latina actress. So I'm super grateful for her. She was amazing, and yeah, I don't think I would have done like as well as I did without her help. So again, I scheduled my audition for online, but one thing that I think is super important and that people don't take into consideration as much as they should is how you look on the day of your audition. Even if it's in person or through video chat, you have to make sure you look authentic. I'm not saying you have to wear all black because you really don't. I honestly think that the reviewers like to see your personality through your outfit. So just make sure you look presentable and like just like yourself, your personality. What I wore was like a pink dress and like a blouse because I love pink. My hair was curly and I basically had my makeup like this. I know people are always like, wear it as natural as you can, but I wore it like this and I got in, and this is how I typically wear it. So there, I'll insert a picture if I find it. And again, my hair was curly, it wasn't straight like in the picture. So basically just use your best judgment. Don't wear ripped jeans and don't wear flip-flops. It's an audition like any other, it's important. So now let's talk about the Zoom video call. I was so nervous that day, you guys. Basically when you log in, there were like little screens, and there was 8 of us waiting. We were from all over the country, and I said hi to everyone, and we talked about where we were from, and we just said our names and things like that. And like the host, so Tish's screen was black, but I'm sure they were recording and already watching us, because you have to remember that your audition starts the moment you walk into the door, or in this situation, the moment you are on the chat. So please remember that, like, be kind, don't be rude, and don't be like arrogant. So after a few minutes of just chatting, a coordinator came onto the main screen and just gave us directions about how we would be waiting. Basically, we would be waiting up to 3 hours or less, so to just have something to do while we waited, and that right before like they put us into like our separate room, or like just the chat by ourselves, we would be watching a video to learn more about Tisch and what the program entails and all of that. So it was a really cool introduction video, but I want you guys to know that I think they were watching me while I was watching the video, because I heard like almost like a click, like someone was like logging in or something. So just like make sure you're not on your phone when they're playing the video. Even if you think they're not watching, they're probably watching, and I was super focused. I was actually caught by surprise after the video ended, because I was about to start studying my monologue again, and the interviewer logged on, and I was like, oh, like I was even shocked, because I was like, that was fast. So being the first one of the interview that time, I was kind of really nervous, and I messed up a whole bunch of times. Like I even started like babbling, like I was like stuttering, and he was like, he just repeated it, even though he didn't seem that happy, but I just smiled and was like, sorry. And I took a deep breath, and I you know, said my name, said the monologue I was gonna do, stood up, did it. Then he told me to do my comedic one. I did it. He didn't laugh. He was taking notes on his iPad the entire time. So like I was like, this guy's not even watching me, but I guess he was. And then he asked me to sit down in front of the computer, and then he just asked me a few questions about like why Tisch, what studio would I like to be put in. I told him that I didn't really have a preference, but I did want to make sure that it was a studio that focused a lot on voice and speech, because I wanted to better my my public speaking skills, and to make sure I got rid of my accent, because sometimes it comes out. And like I felt like he was really bored, to be honest. Like he didn't really like smile or anything, which was fine. But it wasn't until like the last question he asked me, he was like, do you like to create your own content? And I was like, oh my god, like I went in on that question. I told him about how I like to create YouTube videos, how I like to create content for my social media platforms, and then also about how I wait, someone's here. And then also about how I've worked as a social media manager for other companies in the past. And I was just so excited about talking about that he finally smiled, and then he told me that was it. And then like the interview was done, and then the coordinator logged back in and just asked me if I had any questions or concerns. I told him it was fine, everything was good, and then he told me cool. And then the interview was done. I was super stressing after it, because I was like, I really messed up. Like I was already thinking, next fall I'm gonna go in person, I'm gonna audition again, I'm gonna prepare super well, because I just felt like it went horrible. So that just goes to show you that even when you think you did horrible, maybe they said they saw something you didn't, or maybe they thought you were authentic, who knows, but that's what happened. So that was that. I heard from students that auditioned in person that the process is basically the same, and of course to be prepared to wait a while, because again, it could be like you could be the first one to be interviewed at that session, or you could be the last one, so you could be waiting up to 3 hours. Okay, so a month later, on May 1st, I got an email, and it said like, your NYU decision is ready to be viewed, and I felt like my heart stopped. I was like, oh shoot, I didn't get in. So I rushed home. I brought my computer to the kitchen so it could be next to the Wi-Fi router in case like something happened and I logged off or something. I don't know, I was just freaking out. And like I opened it like not even breathing, because I was like, I didn't get in. And then it said, congratulations, like you've been accepted into New York University's Tisch School of the Arts. And I just started crying, because again, like I didn't think it was possible. Like I knew the odds were completely against me. I had pretty much no theater training. Like I had not done anything theatrical, and I knew that some of these people had been doing theater since they were 2 years old. Like I felt like I completely bombed my audition, but I got in. And then I like while I was crying, like my mom comes running in, like what's wrong? And then she started crying, and then I called my dad and I called Noe, and I was just so happy for the remainder of the day. Like so this leads me to my closing. I made this video because I remember being in your position, looking up like so many videos, wondering if I would get in, seeing all these people talk about like what their process was like, and I didn't see a lot of people talking about the Zoom option, so I also wanted to put it out there. It was absolutely one of the best decisions I ever made. If you have the opportunity to come to Tisch, study, like pursue your passion, I highly recommend it. I have learned so much in just like the first semester I was here. I know I'm gonna come out of here like a completely well-rounded artist with so many opportunities, and I'm just so excited to go ahead and pursue them. So yeah, that's it for this video. I know it's super long. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you give it a like, as well as hit that subscribe button down below so you can be notified when all my new content comes out, as well as hit the notifications bell, and that way you'll get a straight notification to your device when I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching. That's it for me, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.